I am alive. I know. Well, I know half of you probably don't care, but the rest of you are probably like, where's the video? Yeah, I put up some shorts, but I haven't done like a video in a while since maybe the new Valentino blushes, the Color Crush, which are fantastic. Go watch that one if you haven't watched it, and the new Gucci Glow ones. But I've just been in like a funk, and a lot has happened in my life of late. And I just this week I'll go over some of it with you today if you like. But I've just been kind of a funk, and somebody said on my Instagram or YouTube or one of them, like, take some time. Like, we know what has gone on with you in the past month, and your followers and friends will still be here if you take a little time off. And so I took the week. But one thing that will get me out of my funk is our favorite Spice Girl, Miss Victoria Beckham. And she has come out with a new color wardrobe, her eyeshadow palettes. And this one is in the shade Orchid. And so today we're going to take a look at this, as well as its accompanying satin kajal liner, which came out, I think, last year. One of my favorites. So I was very excited to see this in an eyeshadow format. She also came out with another new satin kajal liner. It was part of a set a few years ago, but by itself, and it's the Silver Glaze. So we're going to take a look at this one today too, because the thing is that the Victoria Beckham satin kajal liners, yeah, she tries to pair these with them, but there are 2 or 3 of the Victoria Beckham satin kajal liners that can go with each palette. They're made that way, so you can mix and match them and get the look you want. So we're going to take a look at this today, but we're also going to do a whole face of Victoria Beckham Beauty, which is one of my favorite brands. I think they do it really, really well. This is, I believe, their 7th eyeshadow wardrobe. These go for $75 or $50 for just the refill. I have bought just the refills before. They're a little challenging to change in and out, so I just prefer to get this, and it's such a beautiful component. I don't really mind. So we're going to take a look at that today, but we're also going to do a whole face of Victoria Beckham Beauty, because why not? It's one of my favorite brands. So if that sounds good to you, then I'd really appreciate it if you like, subscribe, follow along, shop my links. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps my little channel. And, you know, tell other people that are into beauty to check us out here, because I think that, you know, from the feedback, most people seem to like it. So, yeah, let's dig into some Victoria Beckham Beauty. So, the eye wardrobes came out last year, which is kind of crazy to think that there's already been 6. This is number 7, but 6 of these came out last year. And if you watched my eyeshadows of 2025, you would have seen that they were all kind of dispersed throughout my list. And it was really based on color story, because each one of them is an excellent formula. They're highly pigmented, beautiful, easy to work with. And this one I think is going to be a favorite because I love the color story. It's also a little bit lighter. Some of the other Victoria Beckham quads are really dark, and this one's a little bit lighter. Obviously you can get darker, but this one's a little bit lighter. And I find that this metallic here is a really unique color. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch this for you today, and we're going to take a look at it. So we have the cream color, which is a satin, and it's the largest one because it's the one you're going to use the most of. It's your base, your transition, your inner eye, your under eyebrow. So obviously you'd use the most of that, and it's a satin. Then we have 2 of the mattes. This first one is kind of a real pretty lavender color. And then the next one is a dark burgundy, or not burgundy. What am I talking about? It's like a dark plum color, really beautiful. And then this last one is really unique. It's kind of a rose gold metallic, but it also has some purple in it, and it has a little bit of gold. Really interesting color. And so let me swatch these out for you here so you can take a look. Really beautiful color story and unique. There are some beautiful purple palettes on the market, but this one is not as garish as some of them. Some of them are a little bit young. This is a very sophisticated purple palette. And I think that color that's included, that metallic, is really unique. So I think this is going to be a big hit for her. So we're going to take a look at that today. And then, like I said, we'll do 2 looks. Whose dog is that? We're going to do 2 looks, and then we're going to use a lot of, Victoria Beckham products that will go nicely with it. So let's go ahead and start. My skin is so dry, so I do have moisturizer on, but I'm going to start with the Victoria Beckham by Augustinus Bader. This is her priming fluid. This is in the rosé color. This is a nice product. It's an illuminator, so it can be mixed with foundation. It can be used as a primer. It can even be a subtle highlighter, but I like to use it as a primer. And so I'm going to put that down, and I find, obviously, that it works really well with the Victoria Beckham foundation and concealer, which you would hope. And I have mine in the shade Rose. There's 3 shades. This is in the shade Rose. I don't find a huge difference that you're going to see between them. But if you were going to use that as a very subtle highlighter on top of foundation, then yeah, you probably would want to be more mindful of which color you get. So I can go ahead and do my base first because the Victoria Beckham shadows don't have much fallout. So as long as you tap your brush off, you'll be perfectly fine. It's not a metallic. The metallics from Victoria Beckham are not fallout prone. They're very smooth, very easy to work with. So let's go ahead and start with our base. And so I have my Victoria Beckham by Augustinus Bader concealer pen, and this is in the shade FL2. Some people don't respond as well to this product because it's a lighter coverage. It's sort of like the YSL Touche Eclat, but I like it, and I've always had pretty good luck with it. It is buildable, but you're not going to get higher than a medium coverage. And of course it is pricey, but the good thing about Miss Beckham is she does do some really good sales. And now that it's at Bergdorf and it's at Nordstrom, you can, shop their sales as well. But oftentimes she does the best ones on her website. So I'm going to go ahead and let that sit for just a second. With these kind of thinner pen-like concealers, you want to let them sit for just a second to kind of get into the skin. Because they're not as thick, they don't have as much coverage. This will thicken it up a little bit and give it more coverage. So now that it's sat just a little bit, I'm just going to work this in under the eye. And I apologize, this eye here, I guess I have an allergy. It's kind of swollen. So I'm going to be real careful with this one not to get anything in the eye itself. So yeah, the last few weeks have been crazy. If you watched my, I think it was the Chanel Rouge Noir video, I went into everything that happened around Christmas, but, I don't want to go over it again too much, but my father passed away, and then 3 days later my sister and brother-in-law took their lives. So my family of 7 has gone down to 3 very quickly because my brother's wife also passed away about 2 years ago. So it's been really hard, and my dad sort of did everything for her, and her health has been really bad. And so we had to move her into senior living, and she is fighting it like a dog. She'll call screaming one minute, and then the next minute she'll call crying, begging me to get her out of there. And the thing is every time she's been in the hospital 3 times since she's been there. No, 2 times for falling. So it's not like she can live on her own. And she keeps saying things like, if I just had a nurse for 2 hours a day, I could live on my own. That's not true. So it's been incredibly taxing. So that's the concealer. And as you can see, it's really beautiful. One thing Victoria Beckham doesn't have is a pressed powder, or a loose powder for that matter, which is really strange because she has a beautiful bronzer and you'd think that you would just use a similar format. But maybe that's coming this year. But that looks really beautiful. Since she doesn't have one, let me grab a pressed powder. I'm just going to grab the Prada one because it's really beautiful. And just set this under eye just a little bit. It's interesting. There's not a ton of holes in her line, but powders are, which is interesting. I guess that could be an area for her to come out with this year. I've tried most everything in her line, including her perfumes, which are really beautiful if you've never tried it. I love 2150, the vanilla. I don't normally like vanilla perfumes, but this one is really fantastic. Okay, so before I do the foundation, I'm going to go in with my Victoria Beckham, what is it called? The Baby Blade. I have mine in the light brown. And if you've watched me before, you know that I've said this is a very nice eyebrow pencil, but it's not that much better than like my Benefit one, which I love. And of course it's more expensive because Victoria can be pretty expensive, but it is very good. And so what I tend to do is if I am picking up an order, a large order, I'll add it kind of at the last minute, especially if she does like a tiered sale. But it's not, you know, she has so many beautiful products. Her pot eyeshadows, her eyeshadow wardrobes, her blushes, her lipstick. She has so many beautiful products, her foundation, but this is just a really good product. Okay, so let's go ahead and go in with the foundation. This came out last fall, and it's the Victoria Beckham by Augustinus Bader foundation drops. I have mine in 4 light, and it requires a lot of shaking, but you can hear it's got the little ball in there. And it's a kind of light coverage foundation. It's more coverage than like a skin tint, but less than a foundation, but it builds beautifully and it has the most beautiful finish. So I'm gonna do 2 medium-sized drops here on the back of my hand. And then let me grab, I'm just gonna grab this little Merit brush. She also has brushes. I have not tried those, but I'm sure they're beautiful. I have a follower who works Victoria Beckham at the Nordstrom flagship in New York. I'll try to link her information if I remember, because she often can get the products if they're sold out on the website. And she is an expert at Victoria Beckham. So if you have any questions about formulas or allergies or, you know, what things would work best on your skin type, she would be a good resource to have. And she does beautiful makeup tutorials and makeup on her Instagram. Okay. And I taunt her sometimes with my new products that I have that haven't hit the market, and then she does the same with me, so that I like. And she's very sweet. As you see, that went on so fast and so beautiful. It really was. That and the reformulated Chantecaille were my best foundations of last year, and they're both in my top probably 5 to 7 foundations ever. They're that good. So now I'm going to grab my Victoria Beckham bronzing brick. A beautiful component, just like all the others. But I have mine in this shade too, and it has more of a contour color and then more of a bronzer color. I just mix them together and bronzer, if you will. So let me grab some of that. It's powdery, but it blends really beautifully and just warms up. It's not glowy, it's a matte formulation, but I find it so easy to use that it's probably my most used bronzer. This and the Gucci, which the Gucci has a little more glow, But I just, for whatever reason, find this one so easy to use, and I never have a problem like blending it out. Sometimes I'll have an issue with, like, even the YSL one that's so popular. I'll have an issue with it sometimes, but not with this one. And if you stick to the lighter color, it's great to just warm up foundation if it's a little too, you know, cool, or it's slightly off on color. Okay, so I think we've got our base products on. So let's go ahead and do our eyes. So I'm gonna bring you a little closer. What we're gonna do is one with the accompanying Orchid Satin Kajal liner, which these are her best product, really. I mean, these are really spectacular. And then one with the new Silver Glaze eyeliner, because I think they're both gonna work really well with it. And then we'll come back after we do those and do the rest of the face. But what I'll try to do today is one that's a little bit lighter and then one that's much more dramatic. So let's bring you in a little bit closer, shall we? I can't believe I did that on the first time. I'm gonna jinx that. See how this eye is swollen and kind of red? So we're gonna be careful on this eye. Let's go ahead and do the lighter look over here. I have put down an eyeshadow primer. She doesn't have one, so I just have the About Face eyeshadow primer on. I like that one. I like the Rare Beauty one. So these are really beautiful. And one thing that's interesting about this one is, I guess maybe Tea Rose would be the closest in the pot shadows, but she doesn't really have a perfect match in the pot shadows for this, so I really like that. Some of the other ones, they have a good match in the pot shadows, and the pot shadows are kind of like these metallics, but so much more intense. I really love them, but she doesn't really have this color exactly in the pot shadows. Like I said, the Tea Rose would probably be the closest one. So let's grab the Rephr brush, shall we? The trusty Rephr 14. And this is going to be the lighter one. So I'm going to grab that beautiful kind of cream satin. It's not a straight cream. It's got a little pink in it. And just put this in the crease. Actually, I don't normally put it down as a base, but I'm going to put this down as a base all over to kind of counteract some of that purple that's on my eyelid. I've been having this eye I have had styes with ever since Christmas. I've had two really, styes that have really hurt. But this is different. This is in the lid and it's swollen and it looks like it's on the lash line. And I haven't worn makeup in over a week, so I know it's not something like that. I'm thinking, I mean, could this kind of stuff be stress related? I know when I get stressed, for some reason, I get styes, but I've never had this on the lid. Now, this is a beautiful color for the inner corner, too. And honestly, if you just wanted to do this color and the lighter purple, you could get away with a really simple day look, and it'd be perfectly fine. I'm going to go into that lighter purple matte and put that all over the lid. Yeah, this lid hurts a little, but this purple is perfect because it works really well with the color that my lid is right now. And that's a beautiful color. So you could see right there, you'd have a perfect day look right there. And you could even go in if you wanted in line with that dark kind of plummy color. Or you can do what we're gonna do, which is create kind of something that's kind of soft and that you could wear during the day. So that looks really beautiful. So what I'll do now is go in with the metallic that's in here, and I like to use my fingers on these, but as you see, there's not been any fallout, and I'm just going to place this in the center. And that's a unique color, kind of a rose gold. I guess that would be the closest, but it doesn't have as much gold in it as it has like taupe with little like purple sparkles. Unique. And I'm going to go up higher, so I'm kind of creating I guess you'd call it a little bit like a halo eye, because I'm only going to put it in the center there. And I can actually go in, since I said halo eye, and just deepen up the purple on the edges there just a little bit. I mean, this even by itself right now would be fine for day. It's not too crazy. The thing about the Victoria Beckham quads is some of them can go really crazy really fast, but this one's lighter. I have a question. If you are a big fan of her Satin Kajal liners, what palette would you like to see come out that matches a Satin Kajal liner? For me, it would be my favorite Satin Kajal liner from Victoria Beckham is the, what is it called? Seafoam. I love that one. And I love the one called Jeans. So, or Denim. Either one of those would be really great, I think, as palettes. So that looks really beautiful. I think what I'll do now is just on a small brush, because like I said, I want to keep this one really more daytime. So I'll just on a small brush grab a little bit of this kind of plum color and just do a little messy line along the lashes. So the Olympics started today, and I'm a huge Olympic fan. I love the Olympics, and I particularly love figure skating. I know that's shocking as a homosexual. And there is this scandal right now with this male ice dancer who is amazing, and I've always been a huge fan of him. And particularly him and his ex-partner. They won the last Olympics in Beijing in ice dance, and they were so wonderful. And then he shows up at this Olympics with a new partner, and it's really strange. And the old partner said that he recently came out and said that he was kind of manipulative and verbally abusive to her. And then the new female he's with, her old partner was implicated in a sex scandal by a girl who said that he raped her years ago, and she has stayed with him in a personal capacity, and they have really done well this year for a first year. They're contending for the gold. I hope to God they don't get it. And they're good they're amazing skaters. But it's been a real scandal, and there's an American couple that has been doing ice dance forever, and it was supposed to be their coronation, and it may still be, I hope. But then this wrench came in at the last minute, and they had this real competition with this really troubled team from France. So it's interesting to watch. And then we have really wonderful females. We have a really wonderful male skater. And then Japan has some really wonderful skaters that are great. So it's really interesting right now. If you've never watched it, I'd advise you to watch it. And if you have questions, I can give you a primer on it, because I have watched figure skating forever and ever and ever. So on this one, let's take the Orchid shade and put that in the waterline. This is the accompanying shade. And it's a perfect match for the purple color that's in here. Not the darkest one, but the medium one. And this really is one of my favorite of the liners. So that is really beautiful. What I'm going to do, I normally will do the lashes at the same time, but let's just go ahead and finish this look for now. And I'll curl that. And then I have the Victoria Beckham Vast Lash. It's a very nice mascara. Again, not one of my all-time favorites, but certainly very nice. And she also has colored ones, but there's none that she has that are like a good match for this. This one's just her black. And I like it. But again, it's one that I'll get, you know, if I'm filling out a basket or I need to get to a certain price limit or whatever. But it's not one of my all-time favorites, but it's certainly very nice. And that looks really beautiful, I think. And that, you know, you could tone that down even more and make it even more daytime, but I think that looks really nice. Now over here, obviously, I want to go full drag queen. So I'm going to go ahead and take the cream again. Let me dust off my brush. I don't want to make too much brush laundry. But let me grab some of the cream, that same 14, and blend it through the crease. I don't think on this one I'm going to do the full lid. I'll just do the crease. And then under the brow and the inner eye. This is a beautiful inner eye color. It's unique. It's a cream, but it does have like some pink or slight purple in it. It's a unique color. And it doesn't lean too yellow. Some of the other ones, like the one that's I think in Bordeaux and the one that's in Cocoa, those are really popular, but I find the creams in them can lean pretty warm. This one's not like that. Okay, so on this one, I think what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and grab that deep, dark aubergine or plum color and build it up in the corner, because this is the drama eye. So yeah, I've been really excited about the Olympics because I follow ice skating, and I have since I was a little kid. Like I'm a Michelle Kwan person. I adore her, and I have followed it forever. One of my followers on here, I think her name's Miriam. She does a lot of Pat McGrath videos. She said she could hang with me when it came to figure skating because she goes way back with it too. So I thought that was funny. Speaking of Pat McGrath, I love Pat McGrath, and I know that she is doing this Chapter 11 situation now, and I actually think it's kind of hopeful because if she had sold out right, which was the plan originally, I don't know that she would have remained in creative control. There would have been no quality check on the products. At least this way, I think that she can try to reinvigorate the company and try to restructure it. It might mean that some of your favorite products are going to be discontinued. And honestly, if I was her, I was trying to think about what I would do to revamp the brand. I would come out with a new mothership. And it would be a neutral mothership, browns, maybe a soft pink, maybe a soft blue, very light, but mostly browns, creams, and then I would have 4 toppers in the astral shades, and they would be the original baked format, and they would be like unlike anything you've ever seen. Things that are iridescent or holographic, but in that original format that are toppers that don't have a lot of base to them. I would do that. I would come out with another quad, but a luxe quad, none of that cardboard shit. And it would be 4 baked topper shades that accompany the mothership that she comes out with, which would be Mothership 13, I guess. But a way to get even more. And I would charge $100 for that, and people would pay it because they love those original baked shades. And she did do 3 quads of those years ago. And then I think she needs to come out with a second foundation. Her first foundation is spectacular. Let me grab that light medium purple. Her first foundation is spectacular, but she hasn't come out with a new foundation in a while. So I think I would come out with a new foundation. And then I probably would eliminate some of the products that are very close, like some of the colors that are very close. That's really pretty. Could do that by itself. Like blushes that are very close and go ahead and slim that down. And then I think I would keep my setting sprays, because like that glass setting spray is amazing. And that's the kind of innovation we want. And then find a new way to do like blushes. We've had sticks, we have had liquids, we've even had loose from Givenchy. But find a new way to do basics. And then what I would do is slim the line down, go back to Ultra Luxe, and take a page from Victoria Beckham. Maybe that means getting out of Sephora. Maybe that means getting out of Ulta, or going online only with those retailers and becoming much more exclusive and coming out with the top of the top products. I think that's what I would do. And I think that that would revigorate the brand. But people who are haters on Pat McGrath really get on my nerves, because they don't tend to have a problem with like Natasha Denona. And I love Natasha Denona, don't get me wrong. But have you seen the new quad she's coming out with? It's more brown. And nobody seems to have a problem with her coming out with brown palette after brown palette after brown palette. But for some reason, and it tends to be the same demographic of creators, young, white women, tend to complain about anything Pat McGrath does now. And you got a champion for minority-owned businesses, and people are like, well, Danessa Myricks is doing really well, so it can't just be a Pat problem. Well, let me tell you something. If Pat was to go away, they would then start targeting. The first time Danessa Myricks did something they didn't like, they'd target her. These big brands, and those are the two big ones, need each other to thrive. And that's proven by the fact that there were some smaller Black-owned brands that were at Sephora that have gone under. And you don't want that. So, you know, I think that she's the world's greatest makeup artist. And I think that, you know, I'll stand with her. But I do get that, you know, some changes need to be made. But I don't think the changes need to be made at, let's come out with more like cardboard stuff and price competitive stuff. Don't worry about it. Do like Victoria Beckham and come out with luxurious stuff, because your customer wants that experience. That looks really nice. So what I'm going to do now is grab that metallic, but I'm going to grab it on my pinky, and I'm going to keep it centered to the first half of the lid. And blend it into that kind of lighter lavender color. But really concentrate it over here. And I can go back in with some of that purple and blend them. And then I'm going to go back in with this. It's a little dark for an inner eye color, but I think it's going to work on this because it's a really dramatic look. And put it right there. And even a little bit in the little pocket under the kind of tear duct area there. Look how pretty that is. See a little spot. Perfect. So that is a very light and then a very dramatic look. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'll take that little brush again and just go along the lash line with this kind of aubergine purple plum color. Just a little bit, and I'm actually going to go just a little bit under too. Now, I like other Olympic sports too. Although Shaun White nor Apollo Antonio are competitive anymore, and they were my childhood crushes. But they do commentate, so that's good. Okay, I think that looks really nice. And again, no fallout, which is really great. Okay, so let's go ahead and curl this one over here. And put a little of the mascara on. That looks nice. And then this is a very dark and heavy look, and so what I'm going to do on this one is lighten it up just a little bit with the new Silver Glacé liner. Now these Satin Kajal liners are amazing. They've got about, I don't know, 25 of them now, or that they've had some special edition. This one came out as part of a holiday set in Christmas 2024, but this is the first time that it's released by itself, and this is in the Silver Glaze color. So let me show you what this looks like. Really beautiful. And I'm going to go ahead and run that just on... A gold would be beautiful here too. She's got some beautiful gold colors too. But that silver, see how it just kind of lightens it up just a little bit, and it gives you something a little different. And it also tells you, hey, you don't have to use the accompanying color all the time. You can do something a little bit different. So on this side I've got the Orchid, but on this side I've got the new Silver Glaze. Yeah. I like this look. I like them both a lot. Okay, so I'm going to pull you out now, and we're going to finish the face. Okay. No! That's better. Look how different those two eyes look, but they're really beautiful. Both of them. Okay. So now we have to do blush. And for the blush, I went ahead and pulled the Vintage Rose. What are these called? The Color Wash blushes. These are the ones that give you like a gentle flush of color. The thing is, a lot of people put them on the back of their hand. I find that they will stay in the back of your hand. I don't really have that problem on my cheeks, but I do have them on the back of my hand. So what I like to do on these is to grab a little tray or something to put it on. And these are really interesting. They come in these little droppers. Some people put them on directly, just like this. I'm a little nervous to do that. But I'll just get a little tray and put it on, and I find that to be the easiest way to do it, because then you can evenly distribute it through the bristles and then put it on. And this one is the darkest one, Vintage Rose, but she has two other ones. One that's kind of a coral, and then one that's just kind of a real nice neutral pink. But you can see how beautiful this is and goes so well with this look. But you could obviously do the pink one, particularly in the summer if you wanted something lighter. So I'm going to do the same thing over here, and it's pretty much just one sort of large drop. And then I incorporate it all through the bristles, really get it in there so there's no patchiness, and then go in and place it. And they really do give you that like watercolor effect. There's not many blushes on the market that I found like this. And you know, this is an example of what I'm talking about with like Pat McGrath, where it's an innovative product. I felt that way about her glass skin setting spray. That was an innovative product. And that's what I would, love her to continue with. You know what? We didn't do any contour, and I do like the Victoria Beckham contour stylus. I think I'll skip it, but normally I'll use it for my nose or just a little of contour. But I think in this case, it's worked pretty well. Now, one thing I will do is go back in with my foundation brush and just soften any edges, because I did go a little bit deeper with this color. But you don't have to, because it's really beautiful. And I went heavier than I normally would, but on camera it just shows up better if you just go a little bit heavy. But yeah, if you haven't tried the contour stylus, it's really good. I've tried some other brands that have done similar products. So I think that's a really great product you'd like. So now I have the Victoria Beckham Reflect Highlighter Stick, and I have mine in the shade Pearl. She also has a darker color, and I really like this. It gives you a really beautiful highlight, but it also doesn't really have a lot of visible particles. So it's subtle. I really like the highlighter from Victoria Beckham. She doesn't have a powder one yet, so I wonder if she will end up doing one eventually. And then I just kind of press it in a little bit and rough it up a little bit so that there's no harsh lines, but it's such a pretty subtle highlighter that you don't really get harsh lines with it. But you can see when the light hits it, it's that glassy kind of effect that's so popular. Okay, liner for the lip. She has really nice lip liners. I have this one, it's in the shade 5. So I'm going to use it. It's my darkest one, but I think it'll go well with the lip color I pulled. So and it's a neutral kind of brown. Someone's speeding out there. Okay, so I've got that on. And then she has lipsticks and she has glosses. And I thought the one that would go really well with this is one of her balms, more like her glosses. And this is the Posh Balm, and this color is Cassis, which is a beautiful purpley color. The lipsticks are very nice too. These are sheer, more sheer, but it works really well with the liner. And it gives you like that hint of purple. One thing that also works is if you have any left here on your little thing, is just grab a little bit on your finger. And it works as a lip stain. She also has a lip stain product here. But it's a way to not waste it, because, you know, Victoria Beckham is expensive. So what do we think? I think that's a really beautiful quad. And I think it's a little bit less dramatic than some of the others, although this is pretty dramatic. User friendly, I think, and it would work better, you know, all year, where some of them are really heavy. But I think this looks really nice. Thank you for letting me rant today about my mother, about the surplus of death in my life, Pat McGrath, Winter Olympic sports, and everything else. If you've enjoyed this kind of content, then I really would like it, if you haven't already, if you'd subscribe, like the video, leave comments, shop my links. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really does help the channel because this gets very expensive. And let other people know about it that you think might really like our content. I always include other creators down in the list, in the comments, that are similar or that I really respond to well. So I'd also encourage you to check them out too. Some of them are big creators, like, you know, obviously Alicia Archer, Patty Alonso, but there are also some that are smaller, and the smaller creators are the ones, ironically, who end up having to buy all their own stuff and don't get, you know, the crazy amounts of PR. And so I definitely encourage you to support the smaller ones too. I think these look really nice. I really appreciate you joining today. I promise I'll be back on, you know, more frequently now. And yeah, thank you so much for joining. Bye, everybody.